In the transportation sector, California has set some very lofty goals for how many electric vehicles will be on the road and whether or not we'll even be selling emitting internal combustion engine vehicles in the near future. The state, through agencies like the California Energy Commission, invests in publicly accessible charging options to make electric vehicles more accessible and to support these goals. But while these investments are admirable, there's a real problem when it comes to the electric vehicle market. People are being left behind in this transition because the state primarily invests in faster charging options because faster is better, right? You don't want to be waiting 8 hours to charge up your battery when it only takes 15 minutes to fill your tank up with gas. But the faster you want to charge your car, the more it will cost you. And the reality is that most electric vehicle drivers are wealthy homeowners right now, people who can afford to install solar on their rooftops and primarily can charge in their own garages for low cost or even for free. So the people stuck paying for charging in these public locations are people from low income backgrounds, people who can't charge at home because they live in apartments or other multi-unit dwellings. And this cost barrier is a huge problem to enabling everyone to have access to electric mobility. When we think about this from a racial justice perspective, there's two key issues that come to mind. The first is that there's a history of racially minoritized groups being required to pay a premium for the same goods and services that others can get for free or for much less money. So in this case, charging. These are the same communities that are facing the worst effects of air pollution, from the dirty electricity we generate to the tailpipe emissions from the cars that we drive today. And ultimately, it's not that unreasonable to find that somebody is unwilling to pay to charge their car for more money when it's much cheaper to fill your tank up with gas. So I investigated possible strategies that the California Energy Commission could employ to make charging something that's accessible to everyone. I looked at this question through three key tracks. The first was driver behavior. What will compel someone to use a charger in a particular location? And it comes down to three factors: convenience, how close that charger is to where you are or where you're going; affordability, how much charging costs; and accessibility, how easy is it to use. So if you need to download an app or pay by credit card, you may not want to use that charger. And there are trade-offs between these factors, but the reality is that lower cost charging options, those that are slower perhaps, can compensate for some of these other factors. The second factor I looked at was the cost of installation. So to install a faster charger, like the state typically does, you might have to pay for some upgrades or additional technology, which can add a lot of cost to the initial investment. Lower cost chargers are much, much cheaper. It may mean that you need to install more chargers because people need to use each charger for a longer period of time, but those costs are probably going to offset in certain locations. The final factor I looked at were differences in charging technology. So when you want to charge faster, you need to upgrade the technology so that you can put more electricity into your system in a shorter period of time. Now, faster charging can be more efficient because it does take less time, but it also could produce more emissions because you need to get that electricity from somewhere. And if you need more electricity, you might be tapping into some non-renewable resources like natural gas or coal. And so the overall costs of using your system that way may be much worse. So all of these factors really point to those low-cost charging options being a real option for the state. We just need to find the right location. And in my research, I also discovered that there were definitely locations that low-cost charging was an option. In particular, workplaces and other long dwell locations. By that, I mean places like park and ride bus stops or train stations where somebody will drive 10 minutes to that location, park their car for the day, and then take that public transit for the rest of their hour-long commute. These are places people are going to be stopped for 8 or 10 hours. So they don't need fast charging. They don't need fancy technology. They just need to be able to charge their car so that when they get back to it, it'll be ready to go. By investing in these options, we will be making charging much more equitable. People will have access to low cost or even free charging that they otherwise weren't going to be able to have, so everyone can reap the same benefits of both electric mobility and the air quality that we seek to improve in the state. So if you want to talk more about the memo I wrote on this topic, working at a state agency, which is what I had the privilege to do this summer, or transportation policy more generally, I'd be happy to talk more at the Saturday session of the National Science Policy Symposium Flash Talks. Thank you.